It is time for Controller-Palooza Episode 2. This time, got PS4 controllers, and I got quite an array of them here. So let's check them out, see what works, see what doesn't, and see what needs to be fixed. That's today on Tech Guy Life. All right, so we need to test a whole ton of PS4 controllers. All right, so we fired up the video capture. We got the gamepad tester website loaded. And here we go. Let's check out this one first because it is a third-party controller, not an official PlayStation one. So let's just see how it goes. It has a USB-C connection of all things. So it does detect as a PS4 DualShock controller. So let's see how it goes. Let's move some of these out of the way here. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right, let's do it. Up, down, left, right. Stick 1 and stick 2. Let's check those. Yeah, they got good range. No stick drift. Buttons work. Everything's working. This one is perfect. Well, that was uneventful. So we switched to the micro USB cable to check out all of these controllers. So let's see what we got here. Let's try this one here. This one is dirty. The thumbsticks are not the right. They're not the right thumbsticks. They should look like this. So I believe these have had little covers put on them, or they've just been replaced with weird ones. So we'll have to check that out, see if let's see what else might be wrong with it. Okay, so let's see. Sticks are good. They just cosmetically don't look right. Nope. No left trigger. Everything else is fine. No left trigger. Okay. No L2. Weird. Here's another one. This one is fine. Just cosmetically, it needs new sticks. It's got these little rubber covers on them. We'll see about replacing them. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with these. It's more of a preference thing. But that's all that's wrong with this is just the thumbstick covers. So that one's more cosmetic than anything. And let's try this blue one. And this one is perfect. There is nothing wrong with this one. So we got 2 perfect, 2 broken. Let's go with this one. Ugh. Oh, you can see the one stick, this one here, is quivering. Yeah, so we got one bad stick. And these thumbstick covers are pretty gross. And generally, it's pretty banged up. It's got some good nicks out of it. But works otherwise. So we got one bad stick. And that's it. And bad covers. And this one, oh, well, clearly no button there. And yeah, these are all like turning back into oil. Yuck. But otherwise, sticks are good, so we're just looking at covers. And the button works, it's just not there. So this one should be a pretty easy fix. This one's a disaster. This one's like cracked open, so it's not even open. It's not even closed all the way. This one stick is definitely a problem. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, so this one's got some stick problems. Clearly, the stick is sticky. Just the one. Okay. The options button is stuck down. That could just be dirt. Same with the share button. It just stuck down as I pushed it. So we'll have to check those out otherwise. But everything else seems to be okay. But that could just be because the case is not on correctly. So, and this one definitely needs a bath. Definitely needs a bath. So I think we should start with this guy, because I think it's the coolest. We'll have to see how many of these we can get through in this video, because, well, I don't want this video to go on forever. So there's 4 screws on the back of a PS4 controller. 1, 2, 3, 4, all Phillips head. So let's see if we can get this apart. Half the problem with this one might have just been that it's not gone back correctly. Oh my god. There's dead bugs inside here. Well, gonna have to get my vacuum. Gross. Okay, this one is going to be an adventure, because I have to tear down this whole thing because it needs a complete wash. Like, there are just bug bits everywhere. Well, first I'm going to go take care of this bottom section. Get that washed. Alright, this one's going to have to be torn right down and cleaned all over, because I know there's more bug gunk in there somewhere. Disconnected the battery, took off the triggers, so let's just get under the board and get to the mess that I know is going to be there. I am honestly surprised that none of these bugs caused a short, honestly. Luckily, they're all dead. That's a good thing, I guess. God, there's just bugs everywhere. time to go wash this part. I don't think I've ever taken a PS4 controller right down to the bare bones, but this one is going to be one of those. These bugs are everywhere, and I am stopping like every 2 seconds to clean up because I don't want the stuff getting anywhere. Let's see what we can do with some alcohol. The only problem on this controller was the actual one analog stick, and I wonder by having to do this if I've wrecked it further. But we won't find that out until I get it all back together and fixed. But first, we need to start with this. I'm going to do this the way that I've always done these kind of things, and that is I'm just going to tear it apart. Probably stumble upon more bug guts as I go. I determined in my previous Controller-Palooza video that there was no point trying to remove these whole because you don't need them. So it was a lot harder to try to unsolder all of these pins than it is just to do a couple at a time. Okay, so I got the analog sticks all removed. I did discover a new problem on this board, and that was one of the buttons that goes in the corner. Oh, it's on this side, that's why. So this button is either the option or the start button. Which one is it? Share or options button. One of them is gone. It was taped on, so I still have it here. So maybe I'll be able to resolder the button on afterwards once I get the analog sticks taken care of. Here are the replacement analog sticks. So we'll just go ahead and... Oh, actually, I should clean off this side of the board too. So they just push into where the old analog controllers were. And if we cleaned out our solder holes, or if we cleaned out the solder out of the holes properly, they should just drop in. Now, mind you, there are a lot of pins, and they all have to be lined up exactly perfectly, so your mileage may vary. So there are 14 mounting points or solder points for an analog stick. 3 and 6 for the analog stick itself, 4 for the mounting posts, and then 4 for the button. Okay, everything is soldered in. Let's give it a good cleaning. Well, I don't know if it's going to work, but I did manage to get the button soldered back on, I think. And then the little disc, I thought I had lost it. It had blown away with the tape that was attached to it, and I managed to find it. It does still click. So if there was enough of a connector there to solder back to the button terminals, then maybe it'll work. I'm not sure. I'm going to see if I can get some replacement buttons, but we'll go with this for now and see if it works. But also, analog sticks are all soldered on. Everything's good, nice and clean, ready to go. Clean being the operative word. All right, let's get the back part put back together because that should be pretty straightforward. There is our charge port. Can't remember how to put this back together. Okay, so it's the screw goes in here. And the diffuser. This goes in here. And then this goes in here, and I'm assuming it goes this way. There. I have a few little things I want to get off with IPA. Soap and water didn't take off the old adhesive very well. And this is where I've seen this happen on so many PS4 controllers, to where the Sony's serial number and model number label just gets worn off by whoever's holding it. Brought in the rest of the pieces. So let's put this back together. There's all of our buttons put back in. Time to start putting everything back together and see if we ruined it even more than it was. Well, I guess we really couldn't ruin that anymore. It was full of bugs. I'm gonna hook back up the motors first before I start putting it all back into before putting it all back together, because I need to get those soldered on, and I'd rather do it while it's a little bit more open. So I had to look it up to verify, because when I took it apart, the motors had opposite wiring. And that is actually how they're supposed to be wired. There's no labeling on the board for plus or minus, so it's just remember where they were when you took them off. But if you don't remember, you can always use iFixit, as they've got everything you need in terms of information. And one of these days I'll get good at using tweezers. Okay, time to put these on. Got some new ones. If I can figure out how to get... I think that's on properly. Yep. I think it's time to put it into the shell. So the only specific thing I need to do is make sure I get the ribbon cable for the touchpad routed correctly. And I'm not. It's supposed to be over here. And I missed. Oh, gotta get the touchpad connector ribbon in. Nope, I did not run that correctly. It's got to go into this channel right there. Otherwise, it won't have enough reach. Okay, I got it out. I had to just kind of fish it through with my little plier, or my little tweezers, to get it through properly. I had to use my magnifier so I could see, so that's why I couldn't do it on screen. And there. That is reconnected. So far, this is going back together properly. Now, we just need to put the battery and stuff back on, and I believe it goes on like that. And then the screw goes in. I found the screw. It was right where I left it, right where I'd put it aside so I wouldn't lose it. You know how that goes. Well, this is getting close to being done. This was supposed to be a multiple controller video, but I don't know if I feel like doing anymore. After dealing with all those bugs and having to strip this one right down to nothing. Okay, last step. Got to put this back in. Okay, so that's why this doesn't go back together properly, is because part of the bottom case is actually broken off. Okay, let's see if I screwed this up more, or if it's fixed. Okay, here we go. Plugging her in. Okay, still detecting as a PS4 controller. That's good. And nope, doesn't work. So this button doesn't work for some reason. That button doesn't work. That one works. That one works. Stick works. Button works. Button works. Stick works. D-pad works. Share button works. And the one that I fixed works. Okay, so I somehow screwed up these guys. Probably putting the case back together. That is everything. So let's take it apart, and that stick is off just a little bit already. Quality sticks. I think it'll be fine though. It's not wiggling or going off. It's just not quite so perfect. But let's fix these, because these were working fine. So I probably just screwed something up when I put the case back together. But holy smokes, it works. Yeah, it looks like this guy needs a new membrane. I'll have to see if I can get one. I don't know how to ID your PS4 controllers when you don't have the sticker on the back. Yeah, fun. Anyway, let me see what I can do. New membrane. Let's install it. Well, let's just double check and make sure I got the right one. Yep, looks like it. All right, let's try and put it back in the shell. Let's just hope the membrane didn't totally move on me. Okay, let's plug this in and see what happens. Well, the membrane's working. Here we go. Yes. Yes. All the buttons are working. This has now been fully restored. Sans the bugs. Ugh, gross. The last thing I have to tackle is the problem where where the screw hole has been ripped out. And all this basically does is just kind of give the screw something to hold on to. I probably should replace the back shell, but I want to see what I can do with it. So I carved a small piece of plastic right here out of the leftover joysticks from the old joystick covers from the bug infested ones. Figured it was a sacrifice that it could be made, and I'm just going to try super gluing it in there. So just going to load it up with some glue and then place it in. And then if it stays, what I'll do is I'll just touch it with my soldering iron tip and melt a little hole through it. And then that way, it should hopefully give the screw something to hold on to, but not, it won't be perfect, but it should at least hold. So let's let this dry, and we'll come back to it in a bit. Okay, there we go. We've made our little hole. Let's see if we can see that there. It's probably easier to see from this side. So actually, you can't see it at all. There we go. Something behind it, then you can see it. So there's our little hole that I made for the screw. So let's put this back together and see if it holds. Well, it's not perfect. There's still a little bit of a gap there, but it's holding pretty well. Well, there we go. Honestly, it holds together enough. Considering where we started to actually have, it's actually very clean, and a working controller. This will be great for just my testing. You know, I don't care about a little gap on the side. I'm not a huge gamer. Don't care about that little bit of a problem. But there, that is one controller 100% restored, and it's a good thing because it was mighty nasty. I think I'm going to call this video at this point, and we will tackle the other 4 controllers in another video. We got through 3 only because these 2 were perfectly fine. This one, on the other hand, was just a world of problems. So the first problem that we had was it was full of bugs. See all those guys right there? They were inside of here. It was not fun to deal with, but that is all bits and pieces of bugs. Not looking forward to cleaning this out later. The bugs also seemed to somewhat destroy the membrane, because after I cleaned it, we lost some contacts. We needed new thumbsticks, new actual analog sticks, and then new actual plastic covers for them because the other ones were full of bugs. What else did we have to fix? Oh yes, we had to fix the screw port on this side. Was it this one? Nope. Or is it this one? I can't remember which side. I believe it was this one. Was broken off, so there was no plastic thing for the actual screw to hold the back cover on. So we glued on a piece and melted a little hole for the screw, and everything seems to be working out just fine. Oh, and the last thing that we had to take care of was the options button was ripped off, and someone had actually been in this controller before and taped the button down, hoping that would fix it. It didn't, and we had to resolder it. So needless to say, this is now my absolute favorite PS4 controller because I know it works top to bottom and it is perfectly clean, and it'll be great for just testing PS4s that come in and all that kind of stuff. So this is now my absolute favorite PS4 controller, and I love it. Most importantly, though, we saved it from landfill. These 2 are fine, so we now have 3 PS4 controllers that work perfectly fine. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, yell it from the treetops, yell it from the mountaintops, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.